So yesterday I called into this show called Neutral Voices, and here's how it went. All right, now I first want to apologize for the audio when I called into that show because it was horrible. Every time I call, I feel like I'm calling from freaking Afghanistan.
Perfect.
So everybody was talking about the Proud Boys. Mm-hmm. And I'm no fan of them either, but I did do some research on them. And I challenged your panel, since you all agreed in unison they were like a white supremacist group. If you guys name one thing they've done that's actually that's racist or white supremacist, because I saw an interview from that Enrico Tarrio on CNN, and he actually denounced white supremacy and he denounced racism. So I thought it was odd that everybody kind of thinks that. The only organization I've seen that's accused them of being racist is the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is kind of really has no credibility after they just lost a few big lawsuits recently. So I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Then we'll talk about election integrity when we're done.
Okay.
Can I go? Ben, are you there with me?
I'm here.
Okay, first of all, I got to ask you, how far did you research the Proud Boys?
The Proud Boys, I know that their founder was Gavin McInnes. I know they were founded in 2016. I know Gavin McInnes is kind of a weirdo. He's not a guy that I take serious whatsoever. I know the group itself is basically an activist group. They got their name, well, like you said yesterday, they got their name from some cartoon. They're not a group that I take serious, but they're also not a group that has done anything racist. And if they have, I'd love to hear an example.
All right, Ben, do you understand? And that's why I want to know how far your research been. Gavin, that you spoke of, did you know what he built and why he left the Proud Boys?
No, there's a lot of different conflicting reported on it. I don't think the guy's serious enough to really care to begin with.
Okay, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. You're not getting the full story. Gavin left the Proud Boys because it was built on premises of white supremacy. He stated that when he founded it, it was to be a group of patriots, but the people that joined the Proud Boys were from racist factions. Therefore, he distanced himself from that because he no longer believed in the premise in which they were standing for.
Okay, so he didn't answer my question right away. What I asked, and I challenged the whole panel to come up with one racist act that the Proud Boys as a group are responsible for. Because remember, just the day before, your entire panel condemned the Proud Boys as a white supremacist group. So what I was asking for was proof. What are their actions that make them such, that make them deserving of that disgusting, accusation that they're racist, that they're white supremacists? So what he does is he goes into the founding and why Gavin McInnes left the group. So what he said was false. He did not step away from the group because they were too radical. In fact, it's quite the opposite if you look at Gavin McInnes's own statement, as I'm going to show you. So here is Gavin McInnes's own statement about why he left the Proud Boys. With a gentleman on Neutral Voices, where he got that info, I would love to know, because that's not what Gavin McInnes actually said. So in Gavin McInnes's own words, when he left the Proud Boys, this is what he said. As of today, I'm officially disassociating myself with the Proud Boys, he began. This was referencing the New York group of the NYC-9. McInnes said, I am told that by my legal team and the law enforcement officials, that this gesture could help alleviate their sentencing. That's why he stepped away from the group. He added, fine, at the very least, this will show jurors that they are not dealing with a gang and that there is no head of operations. So he clearly did this for different reasons. He did not say this was about white, that they were a white supremacist group, and that's why he was stepping away. That's not true. His own words, where he was doing it to get a couple of his members lighter sentences. So he was hoping to get their sentences reduced. That was the whole reason he stepped away from the Proud Boys. So this whole notion that they were just too radical for him, too white supremacist for him, so he stepped away, that's simply not true, according to Gavin McInnes's own words. Let's continue.
The problem is I saw an interview with Enrico Tarrio just last year. And he said the opposite. He said he denounces any type of white supremacy. So if he's the leader and he openly denounces it, either he's lying or there's some trail or something they've done that's racist. But what have they actually done?
They were in partnership with the alt-right in Charlottesville. Research that.
The alt-right. The alt-right is not, I've researched that. The alt-right is not connected to them.
Yes, they
In
were.
fact, the alt-right supports Joe Biden in this election.
Pause. Pump your brakes now. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Listen to what I'm saying. I want you to hear me clearly. At the time of Charlottesville, it was the alt-right and the Proud Boys that were there. Do the research.
I did do the research, and there's a lot more factions than just that there.
I know there was a lot more factions, but if you look at the main two factions that were there, it was the Proud Boys and the alt-right.
When he says that the Proud Boys were a faction in Charlottesville, that's just not true. Okay, and I'm going to show you the actual factions that were involved because I kept saying there are many factions. Now, it turns out there were 2 Proud Boy members that were caught up in Charlottesville, but they did not organize it. They didn't plan it. They were just 2 members, not leadership of Proud Boys. And the group as a whole denounced the violence in Charlottesville. That's important to reiterate. Okay, Gavin McInnes and also Enrico Tarrio, he's the current leader of the Proud Boys. They both denounced the violence that took place in Charlottesville. And the group itself was not a faction in those riots. And I'm going to show it to you. Okay? So who were the groups protesting in Charlottesville? It's pretty simple, really. I've said this before. So you had the white supremacists, the self-proclaimed white supremacists that were there. Okay, these were not the Proud Boys. They were white supremacists. The Proud Boys denounced white supremacy. That's not them. The alt-right. That's Richard Spencer's gang. Okay, the alt-right was there. And I also said that Richard Spencer supports Joe Biden. More into that later. The KKK. We all know they were there. The neo-Nazis. They were there. Neo-Confederates. They were there. Traditional Workers' Party. They were there. Black Lives Matter was also there, along with Antifa. Nowhere on here do you see the Proud Boys. Okay, the Proud Boys were not a faction in Charlottesville as they falsely proclaimed. Didn't I say that Richard Spencer backed Joe Biden? Yes, he actually did for this election. Because as some of you might have seen, that Richard Spencer did an interview a few years ago with Dinesh D'Souza. And he actually admitted, policy-wise, he is right in line with the Democrat Party. He's for gun control. He's for free universal health care. He's for suppression of free speech. Okay, this guy, Richard Spencer, 100% policy-wise, lines up with Joe Biden. He always has. And he admitted to being a leftist when he talked to Dinesh D'Souza.
Hey, Ben. So I just want to take this from a different perspective. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Okay, lovely. So basically what I see is I don't see a lot of racist actions towards the Black community from this group. But what I see is how it's viewed so differently from everyone because these are white people. So I don't look at this group and see a white group that hates the Black race. I see a white group that is getting away with so much more than they would be if they were Black. That's my perspective.
Okay, so what have they gotten away with?
Climbing the walls. Look what they're doing.
Walking on the grass.
You guys are all laughing, but I want specific examples.
So I'll give you an example.
Climbing the walls.
I'll give you an example. So my daughter is 14 and white. And the other day she came to me and she said, Mom, did you see those people climbing that wall? Do you know if those people were Black, they would have never made it across the street. And that is the kid. And you know that, Ben. I know that you're very intelligent. You know that it would have been a completely different reaction had the Proud Aladdin boys been Black.
I actually disagree because I got away with burning the church 2 months ago on Capitol Hill. So I disagree with that statement.
Okay, Jill. So your example of the Proud Boys doing something racist wasn't really an example. It was conjecture. Okay, you're offering conjecture. You're saying that the opinion of your little daughter is somehow somehow that's relevant in this discussion. Your daughter's opinion and other people's opinion on politics is not relevant to the question at hand. I asked, what racist, white supremacist action have the Proud Boys taken? And you couldn't list any. Okay, you said that they stormed the Capitol Hill. First of all, the Proud Boys, did not organize that whole thing on Capitol Hill. There's no proof of that. In fact, none of them have even been interviewed on why they stormed Capitol Hill. And if you've done your research on the Proud Boys, it's an all-male group. So why was a woman shot and killed there? I want to see proof. Show me your data. Show me your proof that was the Proud Boys that stormed the Capitol, not conjecture. Let's keep going.
I was already there the night before.
Right.
Okay. When your guys, your Proud Boys, the Proud Boys and whoever hit
Oh boys, what you talking about?
your boys, Proud Boys, or whoever, when they got there to the Capitol building, it was only the Capitol Police there. Am I correct?
Yeah, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you trying to say what have they done? Take a look at, go back and watch what happened on Wednesday. They didn't deploy the National Guard.
Hold on. You just pump your brakes a little bit.
They didn't deploy the National Guard. They did not deploy the National Guard till later on that night. But like I said, like we said, had it been Black Lives Matter movement like they did a few weeks ahead of them, they would have already had the National Guard there. But
How do you know that? That's speculation. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter took over police districts.
Bro, come on, man. They took over police districts. Your Proud Boys took over the Capitol building. Next.
Well, for 2 hours. They took over government buildings for 30 days. And call it trial.
Y'all took.
So he had a valid question there. Okay, he asked me, why wasn't the National Guard already there on Capitol Hill? As to compared to Black Lives Matter, when they had an event, they had the National Guard there and on standby. They weren't there because they didn't have credible intelligence of a threat. And Black Lives Matter has a reputation, a history, of leaving carnage and destruction every time they have a riot. That's why there's a difference between the two groups. One group coordinates with law enforcement, doesn't inflict violence as a group, One group does. That's the difference. That's why the National Guard wasn't there.
Well, you are so awesome. We thank you so much for calling in. And I tell you, I know you had something you wanted to mention about the election. So I hate to leave this. It's so interesting. And I enjoy you guys talking back and forth. But is there anything you want to say in regards to the integrity of the election?
That's what I wanted to bring up. I didn't really have much of an opportunity to keep going back and forth. As you see, they switch topics. They switch gears pretty quick on me. But that was my conversation as far as the Proud Boys, because I wanted to get them on record. I wanted to know why that they all agreed in unison that they're a white supremacist group when there's no evidence to suggest that. When they clearly denounce white supremacy, how can you say that about them? So I was looking for examples. They provided no examples. They provided conjecture. Okay, that was the point. That was why we went back and forth. Then later we get into election integrity. We mostly agreed about that, but that's how my conversation went. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, stay informed, folks.